welcome. This is Hot Edition. We're live from news about Disa Wakanda. Also live on Kesme 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W93.5 in One Beyond. I am Alfred Ocansey this evening here on Hot Edition on 3 from 92.7. Government announces new measures to mitigate the impact of nurses' strike after recalling retired nurses and midwives to come back to work. But the minority says government is acting in bad faith. We'll give you details of how it is unfolding as we speak. Also, majority side of the Energy Committee in Parliament justifies the one-city levy slapped on all petroleum products. Stay with us here on Hot Edition on 3 from 92.7. We have a conversation on this particular issue here on Hot Edition on 3 from 92.7. We're also on Kesme 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W93.5 in Wa and beyond.
Let me reiterate that there will not be any increment. I repeat, there will not be any increment in prices of fuel.
Stay with us. We've got details for you here on Hot Edition on 3 from 92.7 plus. Data bundle packages go up as government announces a 10% increase in all data bundles purchased. Well, we'll tell you shortly what that really means to your pocket. Stay with us here on Hot Edition on 3 from 92.7. Also, we're just getting information this evening here that the special prosecutor has carried out a search at the SML office in an ongoing suspected corruption probe. Stay with us. We've got updates for you on this particular one. Parliament has also summoned Guta, spare parts dealers, AGI, others over refusal to reduce prices despite the city appreciation. All these plus the latest in business and sports over the next 1 hour 30 minutes here on Hot Edition on 3 from 92.7, also on Kesme 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W93.5 in Wa and beyond. I am Alfred Ocansey. Let's settle for a summary of the news now, and Christabel Travis is here.
In tonight's summaries, patients in need of medical care are likely not to receive any, as nurses and midwives who are members of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, GRNMA, intensify the industrial action despite a court injunction secured by the National Labour Commission. The Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association has vowed not to resume work until government implements their conditions of service agreed in 2024. The Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, has postponed the implementation of the Energy Sector Levies Amendment Act 2025, originally set to begin Monday, June 9 to June 16. This follows a stakeholder engagement with the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, which concluded that GRA should allow more time for stakeholders to prepare for implementation. The levy, which adds an additional 1 Ghana cedi per litre on petroleum products, is aimed at addressing debts in Ghana's energy sector. Finance Minister Dr. Kasiel Atufor has met with the leadership of 3 unions in Ghana's tertiary education sector on Tuesday, June 10, to discuss the disbursement of the book and research allowance. The meeting, which was prompted by a request from the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, Technical University Teachers Association of Ghana, TUTAG, and Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CTAG, aimed to address concerns over the payment of the allowance. Finally, the Minister of Communications, Samuel Nate George, has said that through engagements, the telcos will be implementing new changes on data bundles effective July. The measures are Airtel Tigo Ghana, 10% increase on all data offerings, Telecel, 10% increase in all data bundles currently offered by the network, and MTN, 15% increase in all data bundles currently offered by the network. Addressing a press conference in Accra on Tuesday, June 10, he said that he cannot single-handedly order telecom companies to reduce data prices. Alfred, over to you.
Christabel, thank you very much. And stay with me as we go into the stories here on Hot Edition on 3 from 92.7. We're also on Kesme 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W93.5 in Wa and beyond. Let's get into some stories coming through right now. And the breaking news we're monitoring quite closely here on Hot Edition on 3 from 92.7. Information we're getting is that the Office of the Special Prosecutor has commenced a search at the offices of the Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited, that's SML. According to the information we're picking right now, the search being carried out under court orders was supported by personnel from the National Security Secretariat. Sources indicate that the special prosecutor is in the advanced stages of its investigation into the controversial SML contract and is interested in the electronic information from the company's servers. The search has been carried out simultaneously at the Osu and Tema offices of SML here in Accra. Now, this comes at a time when the OSP's pursuit of the former finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, to answer questions on some transactions, including this SML deal, has reached a difficult point, forcing the special prosecutor to declare him as a former finance minister a fugitive from justice. So that's information we're getting right now. One of the 5 issues that Ken Ofori-Atta has been investigated on is this SML deal. And the information we're getting right now is that the Office of the Special Prosecutor has just commenced a search at the offices of the Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited SML and the Tema office. We understand the Osu office as well. The search was carried out there with the support of the National Security Secretariat. That's the personnel there. So we're keeping an eye on how things are playing out here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. We are also on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W 93.5 in Y and beyond. Let's cross over to Parliament right now because the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayine, is answering questions bothering on why he discontinued the case against the current governor of the central bank and also some other matters arising on the Right to Information Act. Take a listen. We'll rectify that connection to Parliament shortly here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. But still on that, stay with Parliament just a little further because the minority in Parliament have criticized government for failing to meet the demands of the striking nurses and midwives. Addressing the press in Parliament earlier today, ranking member of the Parliament's Health Committee, Nanayo Efriye, said government must change its posture towards nurses and midwives in the country. The minority further accused the government of acting in bad faith as regards the collective bargaining agreement reached between the government and the striking nurses in 2024. Let's take a listen to the minority addressing the press earlier today on this issue that is taking a toll on health delivery in the country.
To court, and they settled it in court on the 25th of January 2025, not 2024. You understand? So the natural process actually ended in 2025. No fault of anybody. And this cannot be politicized. Absolutely. It was supposed to be effective 1st July 2024. And before it took effect, it was already injuncted. The process was not. I'm not the Minister of Finance. I will not speak for the Minister of Finance. He's not even bent. The Ministry of Finance have not even met them to let us know what the books looks like. So you can't speak for that. I can't speak for them. Now I can only stand by the nurses and we can only appeal to them. But the responsibility of government has not been honored here. So I don't have any proposal. So government must meet them. I'm not government. I don't have books. I don't have money. I don't have anything. But I stand by the rights of them. I've seen the CBA. So I can't speak for government. It's for government to let us know its position. And the only way the government can do so is to meet them. But that's what we have done. We are saying that taking it to court is not the way. You are being assertive. When two people are assertive, there's conflict. So when one is assertive, one bend a little bit, accommodate, and there's a compromise. So that's what we are saying. What we are saying is that let's get this very straight. You don't go and say minority appeals to nurses. We haven't. What we are saying that if government shows good faith to them, that come and sit down, please, may they go to sit by being merciful. In that case, they know some people respect them, and we are saying that, yeah, we support you, but please, when you go, be reasonable. So don't go and say we are appealing, as if we just came here and we just said, we are not appealing, actually. We are saying that government should change their posture, but when they meet them, please, nurses, be merciful. As far as the nurses are concerned, the Ministry of Finance, there is nothing like that.
So that's the ranking on the Health Committee of Parliament, and you were free there, giving details of the minority position on this particular strike that is taking a toll on health delivery in the country. The government, you recall, yesterday appealed to the public-spirited retired nurses and midwives to volunteer their services for a brief period pending the resolution of the ongoing industrial action by the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. Now, Kwabena Takando, her health minister, said while working around the clock to resolve the impasse, the ministry had taken the steps to mitigate the suffering of Ghanaian patients unduly affected by the strike by the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, and we're monitoring the impact across the country. But this is what the health minister has been saying.
The federal government commits to continue to engage with the nurses in order to achieve a mutually acceptable outcome in the interest of the public. While working around the clock to resolve the impasse, the Ministry of Health has taken the following steps to mitigate the suffering of Ghanaian patients unduly affected by the strike. The ministry will in the next few minutes publish a comprehensive list of facilities to complement facilities where nursing services are lacking and where patients can seek health care. Given the urgency of the situation and suffering of the patients, government appeals to public-spirited retired nurses and midwives to volunteer their services for a brief period pending the resolution of the impasse. We further express our deep appreciation to practicing nurses who have opted to remain at post to help suffering patients and urge others to show similar fellow feeling and assist our ailing compatriots even as efforts are made to address their concerns.
That's a Health Minister, Kwabena Akando, on there. We're monitoring the situation at some of the hospitals or the health facilities across the country. But let's engage a bit further on this. Austin Gama is a labor expert, is going to be joining us shortly. And then also we have Dr. Asante Krobia, is a former president of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. Is joining us on the telephone right now. Dr. Asante Krobia, good evening. Thank you for joining us. Hello, Doc. Good evening to you.
Hello, good evening, my brother.
And I thank you for agreeing to talk to us. Now, this is the appeal by the health minister that the registered nurses, the nurses and midwives who are on retirement, at least in their interim, should come and offer their services to address this dire situation we're faced with because of the strike by the registered nurses and midwives. I mean, is it a good call, at least, while the engagement continues from where you sit? Because the minority in Parliament also think that this move, government is rather showing bad faith because it doesn't send a signal of commitment to address the concerns of the nurses urgently.
Yeah, my brother, thank you very much. First of all, well, I think you said it rightly that I'm the former president of the association, so my views may not be completely in tune and in concord with what the National Council of the Association have taken. But from where I sit, I'm going to pass on my views about the situation now. Yes, I will actually agree with anybody who thinks that the decision that the Minister of Health has taken to bring on board retired nurses is not a good one, and it's not in good faith with the plight of the nurses and midwives who are on strike. And my point is that, first of all, I do not think that the Minister of Health knows exactly where and who the retired nurses are, and these retired nurses, most of them who are within the ages of 70 and 80, will not be able to hold the fort while the strike action of the nurses and midwives linger. So this is going to be an exercise in futility, because even if he finds them, they will not I do not think that they will respond to the call of the Minister of Health. But the point is that if this is even actually what the decision that he has taken, what is he bringing on the table to appeal to the striking nurses and midwives that is actually serious about solving the problem that is on hand? I believe that the crisis we have is the nature of it. It's not a thing that you have to toy with, because it's past 1 week since the nurses and midwives withdrew their services or some of the services, and at this point in time, there should be a pragmatic solution in the hands of the minister to bring on board. And if it now appears that it doesn't have any yet, and I'm telling you, my brother, that this action about bringing retired nurses and midwives to hold the fort will not hold. It will not be successful because, first of all, he doesn't know them, and most of them are already tired and disillusioned about even their own economic, the plight in which they are in, about the economic, socio-economic situation. If you want to talk about retired nurses and midwives, I know them very well. The club members are just a few, and they aren't going to be able to deal with the matter. It means that even he will find, even if he's going to find them at all, they are going to be sent to the operating theaters to assist the surgeons to work. Is he saying that they will be able to do that? In my view, they won't. Is he saying that they are going to send them to the intensive care unit to be able to operate the cardiac monitors and to be able to deal with the patients on admission who are in critical health condition, life-threatening condition? And he's saying that the retired nurses and midwives are going to be able to care for these patients. The retired nurses and midwives aren't going to be able either to take care of stroke patients in the ward. So I don't know what he's talking about, my brother.
I see.
To come again, work with the nurses and proper pragmatic solutions to these striking nurses and midwives. If he actually wants to help save lives in this critical moment under the circumstances.
Dr. Kobe, I find it pretty interesting. You say with emphasis, emphatically, that you don't think the retired nurses and midwives will respond to the appeal by the minister for them to come and hold the fort while this negotiation goes on. I mean, there's not going to be any consideration for fellow feeling, and you say, why is that? Because they side with these concerns?
Well, I stated that rightly so.
I see.
Given the fact that, one, he's not going to find them.
He's not going to find them
at all. He's not going to find. If he's going to be able to find them at all, he's not going to find them in their numbers that you'll be able to organize to hold the fort. And areas, in fact, in strike actions of this nature, we are very much concerned about the patients in the intensive care unit, patients whose conditions are operable. In other words, they are surgical patient candidates, which who are going to the theaters for surgical operations. And I'm saying that they don't even, most of them, as far as I'm concerned,
right, do
not even have the skill to take care of critical care nurses. To take the place of critical care nurses, to take the place of theater nurses. Over the period before I retired myself, I trained the critical care nurses and perioperative nurses, and I know that those who are on retirement now, just a few of them are in that category. So as for outpatient department, patients in the OPD, perhaps they'll be able to soak the pressure, but not in critical care areas, because you know that even doctors will stop admitting patients. And if you have information about that, if you don't have information about it, I'm telling you, the doctors have stopped admitting patients whose conditions will require that they undergo surgical operations. But except those who are there already and are being taken care of. And I'm saying that the retired nurses and midwives aren't going to be able to absorb the pressure. And,
I see. I wanted to hold on a bit for me because I have Austin Game is a labor expert. I know you know him. You have engaged his services a number of times, and he's been following this quite closely. Mr. Game, I appreciate your time. Now, the health minister today appealed to retired nurses and midwives to come in, hold their fort while they engage with the striking nurses because of the dire situation we find ourselves in as a result of the strike. You've been listening to Dr. Krobia, who is the former president of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, who says he can say for sure that the retired nurses and midwives are not going to heed to this appeal by the minister because of the number of reasons he's giving. That one, they really support the call and the reasons why their current members are on strike. So that's going to be a stab in the back if they actually come to even hold the fort. And secondly, the minister cannot find them at the moment. How do you react to this?
Well, I have my opinion. I will not react. To be honest with you, I think that it should be of great concern to my friend Dr. Kombia, particularly because he knows that health workers, especially nurses who are on strike now, many people, I have information because I'm following the strike. I have information of people losing their lives already, and many others are really going through a harsh period, harsh time. I think it's only fair that the minister made this call. For us, I support the nurses having the best of conditions. The employer must be in a position to pay. Negotiation and implementation period of negotiation are all part and parcel of negotiation. And therefore, if the employer is unable to cough the amount of money, they can only engage the nurses. They have no choice. They can only engage the nurses. And if the nurses are not responding positively, an alternative will have to be found temporarily whilst they go into a long-term arrangement. I think the nurses will have to change their mind. They will have to back down. I'm aware that Dr. Kombia and his colleagues are also teachers at the various educational institutions of the nursing fraternity. And so all of them are involved. But it's a difficult task, and the minister has no choice. He has to do what is appropriate. It's a desperate period, and we must ensure that the rest of the 30-something million people do not become victims of this circumstance.
Now, so what should give, or what must give for this compromise to be achieved? Because as you indicated, it is indeed the case. We have monitored some cases of death as a result, not directly as a result of this strike, but then again, it's because these people are unable to get health care as we speak. So what must give for this compromise to be reached?
Every nation has laws and has rules that govern the procedure of how to activate the laws. And in Ghana, we have put together our labor law. We have our rules that govern the procedure of the negotiation. In the unlikely event of a situation like this, both parties, either of them, first of all, or both parties can agree to go to the Labor Commission, and the Labor Commission will have to determine the way forward. They have invited them. They have failed to go to the meeting. Labor Commission gave a forward march for all the parties. They failed to respond. They went to court. They've come out with an interlocutory injunction upon them. They are refusing to obey it. So I understood there's a claim that they have not been sent. Having heard and having said themselves that they said the court has imposed an injunction on them except that they have not been served, they have not made themselves available to be served, is not the issue. Right. They are my people. You should return to work immediately, and we must continue to engage them until the matter is resolved. But to stay away and people are dying, I think it's not fair. The rest of the 30-something million people should not become victims of circumstances because of condition of service. I think it's important they get a good condition of service, but I don't support this ongoing strike.
Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Game. Dr. Kobe Asante, so that's the position, obviously, of Austin Game. Yes, the conditions of service are there, but then again, appeal is to you, well, your colleagues, to consider the impact this is having on patients who are at these healthcare facilities so as to call off the strike. And I put that same question to you. What must give for this compromise to be reached? Because it appears that the Ghana registered nurses and midwives are very clear on their demand. They say that they are ready for a conversation but not a negotiation because the terms have already been signed off.
Right. The labor expert has spoken and his position is very candid. But you and I know that the nurses, the striking nurses and midwives are not going to back off because we see that the minister has taken an entrenched position. He is not going to offer anything reassuring on the table. And that is why it is also difficult for the nurses to also come out with, take a decision to ask the nurses to come back to work. But I'm saying that it is very disturbing that up to this time, we haven't seen the Minister of Health offering a pragmatic solution to the problem, except to say that come back for negotiation. In fact, that is actually an insult, and the labor expert can tell you it is an insult to tell the nurses that come back for negotiation. It is an insult to have somebody reason that the nurses do not have nurses and midwives do not have a case.
Right.
That has led to this decision.
Great.
So coming back to my point.
Run up in a minute for me, please.
All right. So, I myself have been engaging the leadership of the association to take certain steps to ask the minister to drop his high hand and condescend. But it is my appeal to the minister also that what is important now is for the two parties to agree on a necessary and a problem-solving roadmap for the nurses to return to work. But
right.
Obviously, what he has decided to do is not the solution.
Thank you.
The minister is going to be able to offer about 80%, which I'm sure he'll be able to do,
right.
80% of what the nurses are demanding now.
Okay.
I think it will deal with the matter.
Dr. Asante Kobe, appreciate your time on this. Thank you. Thank you so much for your thoughts. And he is the former president of Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. Now, we need to cross over to Parliament now. Christabel?
Yes, let's cross over live to Parliament, where the nurses and midwives strike is taking center stage and is being discussed now.
Motion moved and seconded. The question is, as many as are in favor of adjournment say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The House is adjourned to tomorrow, Wednesday, 11 June 2025 at 2 p.m.
A statement has been forwarded to you. Mr. Speaker, I would again and again plead that since the member intends to invoke Order 93 to bring this to the attention of this House, I humbly plead with you that, Mr. Speaker, let's oblige him. Mr. Speaker, I agree that we must go by our rules, but we've had some rare occasions where we as masters of our own rules have looked at ways of accommodating certain urgent matters for the purposes of democracy. Mr. Speaker, I am pleading with you.
Honorable Minority Leader, you know I'm not a difficult person, but nothing will let me set a bad precedent. Bad precedent in the sense that a member will bring a statement for admission, and there and then the member wants to read the statement. 2, if the member is unable to read the statement, then the member now turn around to say that though I have brought a statement for you to admit, because you didn't admit the statement, let me read the statement under Order 93(1) and 67. Honourable members, motion moved and seconded.
So if you're watching us right now on Facebook at 3FM927, just for the benefit of those of you listening to us right now on the radio, what's happening in Parliament now is that the Speaker, the first Deputy Speaker who is presiding over the business of the House, Bernard Ahiafo, has just adjourned Parliament despite the disagreement over the statement of the Ghana Registered Nurse and Midwives Association. Now, a member of the minority sought to make a statement on the Ghana Registered Nurse and Midwives Association strike, but the Speaker indicated that that particular statement had just been admitted and as a result cannot be read, and so he did not want to set the precedence that would not be continued. The minority is not happy about the decision by the Speaker to adjourn, despite the notification by one of their members to make a statement on the Ghana Registered Nurse and Midwives Association during the proceedings. You just heard the Speaker adjourn the proceedings in Parliament, and if you go on our Facebook page at 3FM927, we're showing you videos of the misunderstanding that ensued between some minority MPs and the majority members of Parliament when the Speaker adjourned sitting to tomorrow. They are not too happy about it. And are you afraid? Honourable Ayu Fury, who is the ranking on the Health Committee of Parliament, together you can see, if you go on our Facebook page right now, 3FM927, together with some of the members of Parliament are hooting at the Marshal of Parliament just a few minutes ago. Let's take a listen to that. So there's a live coverage of what is happening in Parliament right now on 3FM 92.7. If we go on our Facebook page at 3FM 927, we're following proceedings every step of the way. The House has been adjourned to tomorrow, despite the minority's position that this statement on the Ghana Residents and Midwives Association strike should have been admitted and read upon the direction of the Speaker. Well, the Speaker disagreed and indicated that the statement was just submitted to him just a few minutes before the decision to adjourn, and so he does not want to set a precedence that cannot be continued, and so he would have to admit the statement and tomorrow it be read. The minority is not too happy about that decision, but let's go to Parliament live right now again. The Honorable Sebastian Sandari is a member of Parliament for Dafiama Busie Isa constituency. He is the deputy ranking on the health, is the deputy chair of the Health Committee of Parliament. The deputy chair of the Health Committee of Parliament joining us right now. Honorable Sebastian Sandari, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, sir. Thank you for having me.
Now, we're seeing what is playing out in Parliament right now, and the minority sought to make a statement on this strike by the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. The Speaker of Parliament indicated that that statement was not admitted on the order paper or the business for today. He just received the statement, but the minority insisted that he should consider, because this is an urgent matter, so that the statement will be made. The Speaker has adjourned business for the day to tomorrow. Could anything else have been done based on the circumstances at play right now?
Yeah, thank you very much. The Speaker is right in not allowing the statement to be read today. I mean, normally, I believe it happened because the right procedures were not followed. Such a statement needed to be, normally even give it to the leadership. They go through, they agree, then it's admitted by the Speaker, so that it's not a surprise kind of statement that would come. So I believe the right procedure was not followed, and that is why the Speaker has declined to allow the member to read the statement, just to ensure that we follow the right procedure. If not, tomorrow somebody or another member can also follow the wrong precedents, and that will create problems for the House. But whatever it is, I believe the statement probably will be read tomorrow or as soon as the Speaker would allow.
I see, but earlier today, the minority addressed a press conference. A number of things they put out. And I want you to take a listen to the Honorable Ayu Afure, your colleague on the Health Committee. He's a ranking on the Health Committee, which you are the deputy chairperson. He indicated that you, talking about government, you're acting in bad faith. And here's the reason why he makes that point. I want to take a listen to him. I'll seek your response specifically to what you think of that position.
To court, and they settled it in court on the 25th of January 2025, not 2024. You understand? So the natural process actually ended in 2025. No fault of anybody, and this cannot be politicized. Absolutely. It was supposed to be effective 1st July 2024, and before it took effect, it was already injuncted. The process was not. It is. I'm not the Minister of Finance. I will not speak for the Minister of Finance. He's not even bent. The Ministry of Finance have not even met them to let us know what the books looks like. So you can't speak for that. I can't speak for them. Now I can only stand by the nurses, and we can only appeal to them. But the responsibility of government has not been honored here, so I don't have any proposal. So government must meet them. I'm not government. I don't have books. I don't have money. I don't have anything. But I stand by the rights of them. I've seen the CBA. So I can't speak for government. It's for government to let us know its position. And the only way the government can do so is to meet them. But that's what we have done. We are saying that taking it to court is not the way. You have been assertive. When two people are assertive, there's conflict. So when one is assertive, one bend a little bit, accommodate, and there's a compromise. So that's what we are saying. What we are saying is that let's get this very straight. You don't go and say minority appeals to nurses. We haven't. What we are saying that if government shows good faith to them, that come and sit down, please, may they go to sit by being merciful. In that case, they know some people respect them, and we are saying that, yeah, we support you, but please, when you go, be reasonable. So don't go and say we are appealing, as if we just came here and we just said, we are not appealing, actually. We are saying that government should change their posture, but when they meet them, please, nurses, be merciful. As far as the nurses are concerned, the Ministry of Finance, there's nothing like that.
Well, so Honorable Sandari, that's a position that the minority says you have taken, which is a show of bad faith, and that you should do well to meet the nurses at some point to appeal to them to return to work, and not say that you would implement this collective agreement in 2026 because it was not budgeted for.
Yeah, thank you. Let me say that I still maintain the position I expressed yesterday, that the issue at hand cannot be solved by press conferences, because we are dealing with a situation where lives are being lost. Patients are suffering. And therefore, all stakeholders must speak positively and giving assurances to the nurses and midwives, appealing to them to go back to the health facilities as soon as possible. Earlier on, the Minister for Health also addressed the media and assured Ghanaians that they will engage with the nurses and midwives. That is the position we are all calling for, that whatever the situation is, government, nurses and midwives, and all the forces that be must put the patient at the center of the discussion and come to a common point. I wouldn't want to be responding to the position of the ranking member, because even before their press conference, we had met as a health committee, and they were there. Their members were there. We're also there. Our position was that we should also come in as a committee to see how we meet stakeholders to appeal to the nurses and midwives, and also see how we talk to government to solve this problem as soon as possible. So that is the position we took as a committee. In fact, the minority said that they were going to address the press, and therefore we needed to hold on for them to express themselves before we engage with the stakeholders. So I'm not surprised with what the ranking has said. I mean, it's just a talk to the public, because they are a minority and, they have to talk. But trust me, within them, in their hearts, the position is that we should all take up and do whatever that is possible to address the situation. Because patient first. I mean, whatever it is, none of the sides.
But that's where the concern is. That's what the concern is. Patients first.
Yes.
Even if you want to look at the minorities' concerns or the position as politics. But how about this as well? The registered nurses and midwives, they've made their position clear that they don't intend to renegotiate. They can have a conversation because this collective agreement has already been signed. You hear that re-echoed by the minority. So it goes beyond what the minority is saying. So really, what has to be done to address this matter as urgently as possible? Honorable.
Yes. See, we also have feedback from the ground, from the nurses and midwives, from government side, and whatever. You see, the nurses and midwives, some of them feel that whether government or minority, the talk out there is not helping the situation. All they need is that appreciation. I mean, that kind of humble talk. They want to engage. And the Minister for Health assured that engagement. For me, that is the joy that I have, that the engagement, the negotiation has not exhausted. I mean, we all know that you can take a position today, you sleep and you reflect, and by tomorrow morning, you have a different view and a way to act. That's why I keep on saying that. I mean, the negotiation has not exhausted. There's still room for that engagement and that negotiation.
Okay. Well,
but when, this one is talking, and sometimes the nurses themselves listen, and it's like they also want to show that as a body, they have the rights to behave the way it is. But that right is also causing more morbidities and mortalities. So whatever it is, I say that the engagement must continue and lead to the desired results, which is that the nurses and midwives would come back to the health facility. So I also appeal to them. I'm not just saying by expressing their right, patients should suffer, die. No. We all appeal to the nurses and midwives to reflect and put the patient first.
Right.
But as they do that, then, government also takes the position of engagement, and all stakeholders, should come on board, appeal to them, and see what can be done and what cannot be done. I think that is the position the Minister for Health also expressed.
Right.
So, I mean, government is willing to solve the problem, and I hope that the nurses and midwives, would also be willing to be engaged so that this problem is solved.
Well, we'll see how the commanders will look on this. The urgency of it is important, really, in the scheme of things. But I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Sebastian Sandare is the Deputy Chairperson of the Health Committee of Parliament, joining us there. But let's move away just a bit from this nurses' strike. The Communications Minister addressed a press conference earlier today and appeared to have some good news.
Yes, it's actually good news, and Ghanaians are to expect an increase in data bundle values in the coming days. This follows an announcement by the Ministry of Communications of major changes in data bundles by telecommunications companies in Ghana effective July 1st, 2025. According to the Minister of Communications, Samuel Nate George, major telcos will increase data bundle offers by at least 10% in the coming month, cautioning that telecommunications companies who fail to implement these changes will face sanctions.
Operator to optimize service using the 2100 megahertz spectrum at the disposal of NGIC. This should result in a significant improvement in the quality of service and customer experience in the coming weeks. I want to reiterate my commitment to an engagement-led style of leadership that involves all my stakeholders, listens to their challenges, and works to address them in a manner that benefits the entire ecosystem. We need intense competition in the sector, but it must be healthy and sustainable. I am committed to value-added data bundle offerings, and most importantly, these policy actions will culminate in price reductions in the medium to long term. However, the recovery from 8 years of mismanagement cannot be completed in 4 months. To this end, I have mandated that all operators make critical investments in their networks to improve quality over the next quarter, that is from July to September. The regulator will commence a rigorous quality of service assessment in the final quarter of the year, October to December. Reverend Franco, rigorous quality of service assessment. Defaulting operators will be sanctioned. I will also at this point commend the CEOs of the 3 telcos for their pledged commitment to collectively invest approximately $150 million in their networks between now and the end of the year to enhance quality of service, either by acquisition of spectrum or introduction or acquisition of new transmitters and equipment. At this juncture, I am pleased to announce that my engagement with the CEOs have resulted in the following specific measures, which are to take effect from Tuesday, 1st of July, 2025.
We'll engage some experts on this particular one as well, and how this will be rolled out per the minister's directive. So stay with us here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. There's more stories.
The Majority Caucus of the Energy Select Committee of Parliament is this evening justifying the 1 cedi fuel levy imposed on petroleum products. Chairman of Parliament's Energy Committee, Emmanuel Kwesi-Bedra, has further dismissed accusations from a minority that the government misled Ghanaians over the Energy Sector Amendment Act 2025, insisting the newly introduced 1 Ghana cedi fuel levy is a transparent, necessary measure to avert an energy crisis and avoid drastic hikes in the electricity tariffs. The Energy Sector Amendment Act 2025 has ignited heated debate in Parliament and beyond. The new law introduces a 1 Ghana cedi levy on every litre of refined petroleum products, an effort government says will help stabilize the power sector, currently drowning in $3.1 billion USD debts.
Have already dropped significantly from over 16 Ghana cedis per litre in 2025 this year to an average of 12 cedis per litre due to the prudent economic management by the JDM government. Even if the 1 Ghana cedi levy fuel remains significantly cheaper than it was earlier this year, let me reiterate that there will not be any increment, I repeat, there will not be any increment in prices of fuel as at the current market price still remains significantly low than what Ghanaians were paying at the start of the year. This is not a deception, but a strategy and responsible way to raise funds without burdening the Ghanaian consumer with a higher electricity tariff or erratic power supply. All members from the minority side in the Finance Committee and all the leaders from the Energy Committee were present in the committee meeting when we discussed this amendment bill. We all went through the bill and no one walked out. They were all there, and I can mention their names if you want me to. The Honorable Judge Kwame Abuaji, who is my ranking member, was present. Honorable Collins Adumako Mensah, the deputy ranking, was present.
Meanwhile, the Africa Sustainable Energy Center has expressed profound disappointment in the stakeholders of the management of energy sector levies following its failure to scrap the controversial 1 Ghana cedi per litre fuel levy. Africa Sustainable Energy Center also expressed disappointment in particularly the oil marketing companies for not representing the interest of the consumers. In a statement, they indicate that after weeks of public backlash, consultations and engagements, the government's decision to merely postpone the implementation of the levy is unacceptable and out of touch with the needs of Ghanaian people. The Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, has postponed the implementation of the One Ghana Cedi Energy Sector Levies Amendment Act 2025, originally set to begin on Monday, June 9 to June 16. This follows a stakeholder engagement with the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, which concluded that GRA should allow more time for stakeholders to prepare for the implementation.
Well, let's go on to the telephone lines right now. And the Director of Research and Innovations at the Africa Sustainable Energy Center, Dr. Elvis Chumesi, is joining us. Oh, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Why are you faulting the oil marketing companies for supporting this levy and asking that they be given some time to calibrate their systems for the implementation of this levy? What have they done exactly?
Thank you very much for your question. And the Africa Sustainable Energy Center, when we came to terms with the idea that there has been just a postponement of the levy from the 9th to the 15th, I think we saw that to be inappropriate in terms of COMAC representing us in trying to deliberate with the government for actually the levy to be taken away instead of it just being postponed by just merely a week. And our main concern is that definitely, in Ghana, we operate by a bi-weekly pricing window, and definitely anytime price changes at the pump, within the first pricing window, we don't implement it that time. We will push it to the next pricing window, and it's certain that even on the 16th, that's when the next pricing window starts. So pushing the levy to the 16th doesn't actually change anything, and it's just moving the levy to the right time that the levy is supposed to take effect. We are actually expressing disappointment because we are saying that this levy is going to be a toll on the Ghanaian people, and it's actually going to cause a lot of hardship in the country because, yes, we understand that the dollar has decreased, prices have come down, but this levy is not going to be within the period that we still have the dollar coming down. One thing about fuel is that it's price driven, right? And it's based on the fuel, on the dollar rate. It's also based on international markets, and these things are volatile. Things can change even in the future. And when this tax actually comes, it's not going to be for the interim. It's going to be a permanent tax. And we express disappointment that we are going to have a permanent tax that's going to put 1 cedi on a liter. And that is too much for the Ghanaian people.
I see. So what exactly is your alternative? What would you have recommended, especially in the face of the mounting energy sector debt that government says one is going to have to get some money to buy fuel, because we understand the revenue from this levy would primarily be for the procurement of fuel to power the thermal plants.
Exactly. That is a laudable point. But what happens is that, currently our monthly spending is around $170 million, but we are having collection rates around $100 million. It means that we are having about $70 million liability every month. So look at the situation where you are trying to collect money and put it in a basket that is leaking already. So what it means is that no matter the amount that we collect, it's still going to leak within the system because we are having a lot of leakages and inefficiencies, especially at ECG. And the reason why we make mention of ECG every time is that we are the only people who bring money into the energy market. All the other sectors have a flow, money as in system going out of them, and ECG is the only one that brings money into the system. This is the case where we're having a shortfall of about 70 million within the system every month. So if we have this going on and we are collecting tax to pay this, we are saying that this is not going to resolve our issue for us. We need to put in measures that will stop all the leakages and then put everything in place before we can even think of adding anything that can help the energy sector. So our main issue is that first we need to cater for all the leakages within the system. Even our agreements, one thing that African Sustainable Energy Center wants to even bring out more even is that the kind of agreement that we have with our IPP in terms of who should secure fuel for the IPPs and all that. I think all our arrangements have been that Ghana is the one supposed to secure fuel for these IPPs. But the question that we need to ask ourselves is, we have a private company coming in to supply us energy. We understand the situation of trying to create a system for the IPP. But the thing is that, why do we spend almost all our money trying to secure funding to get fuel and everything for these IPPs in terms of our arrangement? So a lot of negotiations and a lot of measures are there to stop the inefficiencies at DCG, trying to negotiate with these IPPs to bring some terms that can actually help the country. All these are measures that we need to put in place to make sure that all leakages are stopped. Then before we can think of doing any other thing than to keep spreading on the Ghanaian.
I do appreciate your time this evening. Dr. Ocansey, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Is the Director of Research and Innovations at the Africa Sustainable Energy Center. That's Dr. Elvis Ocansey there. Before we go for business,
President John Dramani Mahama has warned against political interference and favoritism in the Ghana Police Service, describing such practices as harmful to morale and damaging to public trust. He made these remarks at the presidency during the swearing-in of the newly constituted Police Council today.
Especially to Her Excellency, our Vice President. Your selection is no coincidence. It reflects your integrity, expertise, and proven dedication to serving your nation. You've been called to serve at a critical time when public confidence in our institutions is being tested and when the Ghana Police Service must reposition itself, I dare say reset itself, to meet the growing expectations of the Ghanaian people. You're now custodians of one of the most essential mandates in our republic, to guide the conduct, welfare, and effectiveness of our National Police Service. This is not a task to be taken lightly. It is a sacred trust, a moral and legal responsibility to uphold the dignity of the uniform, the sanctity of justice, and the security of every Ghanaian life. The Ghana Police Service must be a beacon of integrity. For too long, issues of politicization, arbitrary promotions, disregard for seniority, unfair postings, and breaches of professional conduct have cast shadows over the service's credibility. I'm fully aware of the frustrations.
Well, you're still live on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. We'll be back after the business news. Stay with us.
Hello, Ghana. Offers fast and easy loan.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the business news on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Coming up this evening, government secures major data bundle increases across MTN, Telecel and Airtel Tigo, effective July 1, 2025, with packages more than doubling in volume. I am Bismarck Ausa. Thanks for your company, and now to the detail. Communications Minister Samuel George has announced a major boost in data bundle allocations across all telecom networks effective July 1, 2025. The move follows negotiations with industry players and is expected to ease data costs for consumers. MTN, Telecel, and Airtel Tigo are all revising their packages upward, with some bundles seeing over 100% increases for existing and slightly improved charges.
Intense competition in the sector, but it must be healthy and sustainable. I am committed to value-added data bundle offerings, and most importantly, these policy actions will culminate in price reductions in the medium to long term. However, the recovery from 8 years of mismanagement cannot be completed in 4 months. To this end, I have mandated that all operators make critical investments in their networks to improve quality over the next quarter, that is from July to September. The regulator will commence a rigorous quality of service assessment in the final quarter of the year. Defaulting operators will be sanctioned. I will also, at this point, commend the CEOs of the 3 telcos for their pledged commitment to collectively invest approximately $150 million in their networks between now and the end of the year to enhance quality of service, either by acquisition of spectrum or introduction or acquisition of new transmitters and equipment. I am pleased to announce that my engagement with the CEOs have resulted in the following specific measures, which are to take effect from Tuesday, 1st of July, 2025.
And that was Communications Minister Samuel George announcing major data bundle increases across telecommunication networks effective July 1, 2025. Moving on, the Managing Director of the Ghana Stock Exchange, Abena Amwa, has been elected to the board of the International Capital Market Association, making her the first West African to achieve this feat. Her election reflects the growing influence of Ghana and West Africa in shaping global capital markets. In a statement, Ms. Amwa said she is honored to represent the region and looks forward to contributing to the development of efficient and sustainable capital markets worldwide. The ICMA board includes leaders from top financial institutions and plays a key role in setting global market standards. Now, Ghana saw a sharp increase in the total money in circulation from 44.5 billion cedis in 2023 to 71.6 billion cedis by the end of 2024, according to the Bank of Ghana's 2024 financial statement. The more than 60% jump has sparked debate, with analysts questioning whether it aligns with real economic activity, especially a year when inflation was actually on a downward trend. The following 3 Business News Desk report has details. There was a significant rise in the total amount of money circulating in Ghana's economy, up from 44.5 billion cedis in 2023 to 71.6 billion cedis by the end of 2024. That's according to the Bank of Ghana's 2024 financial statement released on June 5, 2025. The increase, over 60% in 1 year, has prompted scrutiny from some analysts who are questioning whether the jump is backed by real economic growth or could raise future concerns. But others point out that inflation in Ghana was actually on a declining trend during the period, challenging the assumption that more money in circulation always leads to price increases. The 200 cedi note recorded the highest jump in circulation value, nearly doubling to 24.3 billion cedis. 100 cedi notes also rose to 18.5 billion cedis, while the 20 cedis note held steady at 5 billion cedis. Meanwhile, the Bank of Ghana spent 1 billion cedis managing the currency, up from 688 million cedis the year before. The cost of importing foreign currency for banks and businesses also soared, rising from 2.6 million cedis in 2023 to 14.4 million cedis in 2024. And that was a 3 Business News Desk report. And before we go, Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, Elizabeth Ofosu-Ajari, is leading a diplomatic effort in Washington, D.C., USA, to secure the renewal of the African Growth and Opportunity Act, AGWA. The preferential trade program, critical for many African economies, is slated to expire in September of this year. There is more in the following 3 Business News Desk report.
A delegation from Ghana is actively lobbying the U.S. for the renewal of the African Growth and Opportunity Act, AGWA, a crucial trade program set to expire soon. Trade Minister Elizabeth Ofosu-Adjare highlighted how AGWA has boosted Ghanaian manufacturing, created jobs and attracted U.S. investment, especially in garments and textiles. The push comes amidst concerns over U.S. trade policies and tariffs. Minister Ofosu-Adjare also addressed the U.S. concerns regarding Ghana's local content policies and other trade issues, assuring that they are being addressed. Both nations agreed to resume negotiations under the U.S.-Ghana Trade and Investment Framework Agreement, TIFA. Ghana hopes to secure AGWA's renewal to protect its non-traditional export sector and future trade. AGWA, first enacted in 2000, grants duty-free access to the U.S. market for over 6,000 products from eligible sub-Saharan African countries. Its non-renewal could have a substantial impact on Ghana's non-traditional export sector and broader trade strategy.
And that was a 3 Business News Desk report, bringing us to the end of Business News on Hot Edition with me, Bismarck Awusa. For more business stories, please check out our website 3news.com. Sports News is next with Oreku Ampofu. Please stay.
Ghana, the road is calling, the wheels are spinning. It's the 3FM Tour du Ghana.
It has always been a journey of Pan-Africanism and consciousness. It is your regular taxi driver with the urban blend and 3FM 92.7 in living stereo every day, Monday to Friday, from 12:30 p.m. till 3 p.m. This is the show everybody listens to, so your business will certainly do well here. My name, Black Rasta. I am the rootical, hairtical, Don Gargan, Mua Fire, come forward. Atinga ya chika fankare, Azure ya chika fankare, Abama ta chika fankare.
3FM, your urban lifestyle radio.
good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. My name is Ori Kwampa for Let's Do Some Sport and start with Black Stars midfielder Thomas Partey, who has opened up on his future as his contract with the Gunners is expected to expire later in June. London-based club on Monday confirmed that the Ghanaian is now a free agent, but also stated that they're in talks with the midfielder about a potential new contract. His name also appeared on the Premier League's official list of released players, which has further fueled speculation about his future. The 31-year-old explains he is likely to play next season, revealing and giving a hint as to where his next destination would be in an exclusive interview with 3 Sports.
I think they will say about the availability because I was available throughout the whole season. So, of course, they will say that. But I will say every moment, every year or every time in training there, I feel like I've been in my best because I can't count how many games that I was not, giving all my best. Sometimes it may go bad, but I feel like every game or every match I go in all out and try to give my best. So I feel happy, and in me I feel like every year, injury, no injury is part of it. It's been my best. No, I think the first thing is where are you happy, where you feel at home. And at the end of the day, you've been playing football, you've been in a different team. It's not going to be like the last team you play or the first team you're going to play. So where you feel happy, and then what is your next objective? What do you want to achieve next, So you still have to look at all this, and at the end of the day, we all have a family that will say, oh, you need money, because this is our mind. We are not getting younger. We are working. So there are a lot of things you have to look where you, now with a family, where you want your family to be happy, where you feel like, oh, when you go out, nobody is going to, destroy your family. So these are the things you have to look at. But before, when you are young, you just go anywhere. Yeah, I think it all, I can't decide anything, and it's up to, I think, my agents and then the clubs. So me, I just want to enjoy football.
Well, part of the reasons why Thomas Partey is in Ghana is to oversee the second edition of the Thomas Partey tournament, which is expected to unveil the next set of talent here in Ghana. Now, the 4-day football event began today at the Tuba AstroTurf with young talents fighting to justify their inclusion. We'll hear some reactions from some participants, but first, let's hear from Public Relations Officer for Thomas Partey, who gives insight of day 1 of the event.
I'd say it was fairly good. It was good. The agents we expected all came. The big man himself, Thomas Partey, was also around, and the players were motivated enough to showcase their talent. We saw a very competitive first and second games. Obviously, the third and fourth also, brought their unique qualities to the fore, and that's something from an organizational perspective we've been expecting. So, looking forward to a blistering second, third, and then fourth day, where we'll be crowning the champions of this particular competition and scouting tournament. I mean, everything TP is good, and I'm not surprised that we've been able to put up such a fantastic, tournament here. The crowds were massive. The people showed up to support their star, and that's what we've been looking for. So, massive first day here.
It's a good time to now hear from some participants who share their experience with 3 Sports.
Everybody's playing high. Today I see it's like I've seen a lot of talent here, and then it's been good for my side, like my team and the others too. They are performing well, so I can see going forward. I can see that it's going to be tough. So yeah, we are going to prepare for that. The intensity was very high. Like everybody is aggressive on the ball. Without the ball or with the ball, everybody's very everybody's playing high intensity game. So we just have to push forward and then grab the opportunity.
The game was very tough for us.
It was like motivation to all of us. I mean, it made us see that we can reach our very best and everything. So it was hard.
So those were some of the participants of the second edition of the Thomas Partey tournament. To some more stories, and in a decisive ruling, the disciplinary committee of the Ghana Football Association has awarded a 3-0 victory to Basake Holy Stars FC following the abandonment of their penultimate game against Nations FC in the Ghana Premier League. My colleague Mutala Yakubu, who's been following the case quite closely, gives us more details on the verdict.
Now, the 2024-2025 Ghana Premier League season may be over, with Babyini Gold Stars being crowned champions, but there was a pending issue between Baseke Holy Stars and Nations FC, who at one point were also vying for the title. Now, the issue had to do with match day 33, where Nations FC were being hosted by Baseke Holy Stars. And after Holy Stars were awarded a second penalty in the game, Nations did not agree with the decision of the referee and had to abandon the game halfway. Now, both teams, after that, wrote to the FA seeking justice, and today the disciplinary committee has released the verdict saying that the protest that was written to them by Baseke Holy Stars stands, and that of Nations FC has been dismissed. Now, also, Baseke Holy Stars were asking for the 3 points, and the disciplinary committee quoted Article 33(1) of the Ghana Premier League regulation that says that any team that forfeits a match also forfeits the points, and it means that Nations FC will not get any points from that game. And however, Baseke Holy Stars have been awarded with 3 points and 3 goals. Also, Nations FC have been deducted 3 points, meaning that the 60 points they had going into the game has now become 57, and they finished 5th in the Ghana Premier League season. They've also been fined 2,500 Ghana cedi and have 1 day to respond to this verdict.
And so that was my colleague Mutala bringing us to the end of the sports segment here on Hot Edition. My name is Uri Kwampafo. You can get some more sports stories on our social media handles at 3SportsGH, and then on our website 3news4/sports.
Ready, Ghana. The road is calling. The wheels are spinning. It's the 3FM Tour du Ghana, happening Saturday, 21st June, 2025, from the
on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. We're also on Kesme 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. Go to some more stories now. And the Ghana National Association of Teachers says it will not shield any invigilator caught in the upcoming BCE. Speaking exclusively to our Labour Affairs correspondent, Thomas Tanko Musa asked the invigilators to be circumspect in their work. The basic education certificate examination will begin tomorrow across the country. More than 4,000 students are to participate in the exams, while more than 1,000 invigilators have been recruited for the exercise. However, over the years, some teachers recruited by the West African Examination Council for invigilation have been involved in mob practices. Take a listen to Musa Tanko earlier today when he spoke to my colleague on the upcoming BEC.
We want to commend them for the preparations that
have been put in place so far. We want them to know that no matter how you learn, always there is that kind of feeling that you have not prepared enough. They should remember they have been learning for the past 9 years, and always it is like you have not learned anything. We all have been there before, so they should take it easy. That is number one. Number two is that
constituency has been an.
As you go to the examination room, it will surprise you that the things that you have learned, you will be able to reproduce them and present as the question demands, or the questions demand of you. You'll be able to get it done. So there is no need for you to panic. There is no need for the students to panic. There is no need for them to fear. Just be yourself and you go through it successfully. The third thing I want to bring to the attention of the students is that they have been writing exams from KG. You have been writing exams. These exams that you are going to write is no exception. It's the same exam. The only difference is that this exam is no longer going to be organized in your school. Even if it is your school, it is the same exam that you are going to write. So have that kind of confidence, have that kind of belief in yourself, and go and write. You will pass successfully. The fourth thing I want to bring to the attention of the students is that this examination is not your last stop. It is not due. This is a terminal point. This one too will certainly pass. And so don't take this examination to be do or die. Account for it. Don't go and engage in anything that will put your life at risk. Please, don't do that.
Well, another major concern to NAT, General Secretary, is the consistent leakages of exam papers during the exam. In 2021, 10 out of the 20 examination papers of BC leaked, resulting in the cancellation of the papers. Available figures again show that exam malpractice has increased of more than 200% for the past 5 years. Ahead of the BC, Thomas Musatanko cautioned WAEC against any leakage.
To the teachers, please, all the things that you have to do will end today. Leave the students alone. Like I indicated to the students, this one is not about do or die matter. No. And as teachers, we all know that this will not be their last stop. So please, whatever you have taught them, let today be the last day. From tomorrow, wish them well. Leave the rest. Let them go to the examination room and account for it.
Thomas Motatanko there. Ending Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, also on Kesme 107.1 and on W93.5 in and beyond. Join me on the rest of the team at 10 p.m. on TV3 for Ghana Tonight. I am Alfred Ocansey. The drive continues. Stay with us. Good evening.